Cern Basher is here with me today after last week, right there in his own little town in Florida. I forget where you live. Anyway, his wife had her official debut as a comedian, and I hear it went well.
She was at McCurdy's Comedy Club in Sarasota,
Okay.
which is actually a pretty well-known stop for comedians. Yeah, she was, or her debut performance as a stand-up comedian in English, and it went very well. She had a great time. She did very well on stage. Yeah, I
All
was very
right.
proud of her.
So you are her part-time joke writer, I understand. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I've been roped into writing a few jokes for her, and it's kind of fun to work on together. Whenever we go out for dinner, we usually end up coming up with a few jokes.
That's
So I
great.
apologize to all the people that are sitting around us.
Well, then you can also write those dinners off. It's a working dinner.
Good point. Thank you, Randy.
So, all right. Well, we'll continue to watch the new career that your wife is engaging in. I guess if I can start a career as whatever this is as a YouTuber at 74, your wife, who is much younger and better looking than I am, and probably a lot funnier. It sounds like.
Well, it's interesting because she was feeling that time is slipping by, and then she met a gentleman who, at the age of 82, became a stand-up comedian.
At 82, he
Yeah,
started.
yeah. And he's now 85 and he's going strong.
And I think you guys did a video with him last week, right?
Yeah, my wife filmed a video of him experiencing Tesla and FSD in fart mode in the car for the first time. And so that's kind of a cute video. It's about 18 minutes long on my wife's X account. Yep.
Really, really wild and crazy. Well, okay, we've had a week where the markets seem to be ready to trim. I've been predicting this for 3 weeks. I think you and I talked about it last week that the markets were stretched and it was time for some kind of a pullback. We seem to be getting the pullback. Are you thinking maybe we get to 5 or 10% on this before we start back up again?
Well, this for me is kind of the summer doldrums. And I think a lot of the Wall Street traders are probably at the beach. Although with Hurricane Aaron bearing down on the East Coast, somebody might want to alert them.
Might,
Uh,
might, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, I think the markets are going to be a little unsettled between now and Labor Day, and then things will kick back up then. But September often is a kind of a rocky time in the markets.
Right.
So, expect some rough weather.
Yeah, well, everybody will be anticipating, of course, the Fed decision. I think it's September 18th. And based on today's stats that came out, uh, people are now taking all the cuts off the table. It's like every day we get different set of stats, and it's either a 50% cut or it's a 25 or it's no cut. And I saw at least two articles this morning saying, based on those stats, we should be getting an increase. So,
Yeah, I sort of wish that the Fed that this wasn't even a thing, that the interest rates were just set by the markets and we didn't have to rely on the Fed for any of this stuff. But
yeah. Yeah.
that's a pipe dream.
Pipe dream. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Although I don't know at the rate Trump is going, just ending the Fed might be on his list of things to do. It could. You can never tell. It's
That could be something fun for him to do on a Sunday sometime.
when he's not busy. I don't know, swooping into a city to drop the crime rate 25% in a week. Cern, you probably have a slide.
I do have a couple, more so than last week, actually.
Yeah.
We're going to see actually a big increase in the number of slides this week,
Okay.
making up for it.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
throw it
So
up. Let's see what happens.
let's see here. How does that look?
Fine. Good. Yeah.
So, as you know, we like to break new product announcement news here on our show.
Especially if it's Cybertruck related.
Yes, and this one is beautiful because it's Cybertruck related, it's space and airplane related. It's got everything that we love all in one.
Right.
And so, Cybertruck merged with a passenger plane flying through the futuristic post-apocalyptic world run by robots. And Elon says maybe Tesla should make this, and I think he's probably halfway serious.
Yeah, halfway serious at least. So yeah, we've already made half of it, so why can't we make the darn thing fly? Yeah, yeah,
Well, they probably made more than half of it with the engines at
yeah, yeah,
SpaceX.
yeah.
These things
That's
are
right.
just sitting around.
Yeah, I mean the thing that they're working on for the race car, what do you call it? Yeah,
The cold gas thrusters, the
yes,
roadster.
yes, yes, except for the roadster. Yeah,
So, yeah, I think it would be cool if it was Cybertruck shaped. I think that that would be nice.
yeah,
Um, so anyway, something to look forward to in 2050, maybe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here's the usual disclaimer. Um, so we've had a little bit of controversy here, Randy, over the last day or so. This gentleman or person, I don't know who this is trying to get Elon to wake up, right? Come back. Mars needs you. Wake up. The mandate's being lost, right? Wake up. Scam Altman is winning. He's concerned that Elon's spending too much time on XAI.
Yeah.
And at the bottom of this here, I didn't show this because this is a family channel. Elon was showing the AI fashion show where they had the different,
Ah,
um,
yes, yes, yes.
as though they were fashion models. So I thought Elon's response to this was interesting. He says it's all part of a broader vision slash strategy.
He's laughing though.
Yeah, yeah. Starship 10 is launching on Sunday. Grok 5 begins training next month. Tesla Autopilot version 14 also next month. Long-term strategy is compelling.
Yeah,
So Elon's focus on Grok lately, I think has bothered some people, and they see that as, well, then he must not be focused on Mars or Tesla or anything else, which we know is not true.
sure.
Elon's capable of focusing on about 15 things at once. Um, so this is interesting, and of course, we would all like to hear more about his long-term strategy. And he goes on and he says, "Wait till you see Grok 5. I think it has a shot at being true AGI.
Hmm.
Haven't felt that about anything before."
Whoa,
So that's actually a pretty major statement coming from
that's a
him.
major statement. Maybe we'll have to hold the book up for a month.
Well, I would get the book out, Randy,
Oh, I
while
see
you can.
before. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, yeah,
We could do the second. We could do the second print like a week after he announces. We'd have two back to back or something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, so that's interesting. We'll see what comes of that. Um, and then this is also interesting, also today. AI is obviously going to one-shot the human limbic system. That said, I predict counterintuitively that it will increase the birth rate. Mark my words, he says. Also, we're going to program it that way.
It's- which has got all kinds of possible implications.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And somebody, community notes and violations notes here. If AI is programmed to support families, doesn't that mean it could become the biggest pro-birth tech in history? And Elon says yes.
Right. Yeah. So it's going to be a truth teller. And part of that truth is we need to populate the earth. Therefore, it's okay to lie if necessary in order to get more babies.
Well, not lie if necessary, but just help humanity along, Randy.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. And by
Interesting.
whatever means necessary, I suppose.
Yes, by
Yes.
whatever means necessary.
So it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we'll see how this transpires.
Well, the question is whether people being at home more. So, one of the things I'll be predicting in the book is that maybe one spouse will be able to stay home. Only one spouse will have to work in the future. Maybe the one spouse that's working will only be working 4 days or 3 or whatever. So will people being at home more cause more population growth, or will that cause more divorces? This is, an open question.
Well, there's an easy solution, and we know for sure how to increase the birth rate,
Yeah.
right? Every time there's a storm and the power's off,
Yeah, you're right.
people look around and say, well, now what do we do?
Right, right,
So I think the good news here is with AI using so much energy, there won't
it'll
be any energy for anything else. And so the power will be off for everything but AI,
right, right.
right? And so maybe that's the plan.
And the AI will demand it.
Yes.
It won't be a choice. It'll just say, no, you have to feed me.
Sure. I mean, it's not going to care about humans being
Oh,
comfortable in
no.
air-conditioned homes or
Right.
food being refrigerated. That's not important to an AI. But, if the side effect of that is humans making more babies, then mission accomplished.
Yeah. Jeez.
Anyway, okay, let's move on to another controversial topic.
Sure.
Model YL
Yes.
rolls off the tongue. This is now, I guess, available for order in China, and people are checking out these cars, and there's videos about them. And here it is on the right. It's a
Hmm.
slightly stretched, longer version of the Model Y,
Hmm.
and it's got a 6-seat configuration.
Right.
So, it doesn't look that much longer, but you can tell it's longer than the one on the left.
Sure.
So, here's some interior pictures. You can see 3 rows of seats.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay. And this one shows, maybe how much longer it is. I'm not sure if this is exact, but
Mm.
maybe another few inches, almost a foot. Although it's interesting because the car here on the left is the Model YL, and it seems to be shorter than the other one. So I don't know.
Oh.
But anyway,
Hmm.
this was a screenshot from a video that I saw of this gentleman showing you how much legroom there was. And this is the
Oh,
second row seat. And
okay.
he's showing here how much longer the car is. And then he's showing how much legroom he has there in the second row.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then he jumps into the third row,
Right.
and he's immediately quite pained and trying to get in there,
Oh.
right? He can't quite fit himself in there. And then he shows that he has no room even to put his feet flat.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But I think that second row seat probably is all the way back.
Okay.
So, for dramatic
Yeah. 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 For dramatic effect.
reasons, effect, yeah. And here he is now. If you open the trunk, how close he is to the back.
Oh, okay.
You're basically sitting in the trunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, quite a bit of room.
Hmm.
And here's all the way open, and then you can lay down those seats flat and have a flat area. This part here is there's some magnets that allow you to lift this up, move it around, turn it around,
Hmm.
so on. Here he is in the back, so showing how much room there is. And then you can also lay down the 2 middle row seats. And by the way, these 2 seats have their own armrests
Right.
that come up, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Electric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can lay down just one side of the seats, different configurations. I thought this was pretty funny. Tesla China just released the 6-seater Model Y. You should probably say something. Elon says, cool. But then he actually went on yesterday, and this is the controversial part, and it's caused a bit of a tizzy.
Yes. A bit of a tizzy.
This variant, Elon says, this variant of the Model Y doesn't start production in the US until the end of next year. And then he goes on, might not ever, given the advent of self-driving in America.
Right.
What are your thoughts about this, Randy?
Well, I've expressed my thoughts on this already. So, just briefly, it sounds as if he's saying that he believes that the change over to folks will change rapidly to not wanting a vehicle at all. They'll want to grab a cyber cab all the time. I think even the ARK Invest feels that it will be need to be under $1 a mile before people are willing to give up their cars. Maybe they'll be willing to give up one. And part two of that would be that if people are switching over to a one-car family or no-car family, what would be the need, I think he's saying, for a 6-seat version? And that maybe it would be okay for other people to provide the 6-seat version and some of the other things, or maybe the robovan would be the answer for anyway, all kinds of possibilities. But it really suggested to me a tremendous amount of confidence that cybercabs are ready to go, that it's going to be approved regulatory, it's going to be out there really, really fast, and he thinks that the market will grow rapidly.
Do you see any inconsistency with our previous discussion about wanting humanity to have more babies and not providing a vehicle for people to carry said children?
So, yeah, so maybe he only wants three children, no, two children families, or three, no, I guess you could have three. They seat five, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's interesting. Some people say here he's just trying to not Osborne.
yeah,
So, and that may be a factor. I tend to believe that Elon just kind of says his truth.
yeah, he does.
Um,
Yeah,
and I think he thinks that Robotaxi is going to take off in a big way, although certainly there will be demand for some time from people with larger families or for this vehicle. And a lot of those people voiced their opinion on X yesterday about that.
yeah.
My overall view is that the minute that you take any Tesla car and it's robotaxi capable, you've just massively increased the value of that car.
Hmm.
So there's no rule that says that Tesla must sell you a car at the old price if the car now is 10 times as
Right,
valuable,
right,
right? And the example I used was, let's say Apple discovered that they could take iPhones and turn them into AI data centers,
right,
and that was more valuable than selling you an iPhone,
right,
right? It would be criminal for them not to do that,
right.
right? And so the same thinking applies here to Tesla. These Tesla vehicles now are worth way more as a robotaxi. And so it's not like they're going to stop selling them to people. It's just that you won't be able to afford what the car's value is.
Yeah, you and I are exactly 100% on the same page there. I started talking about this over 2 years ago, that there's this transition issue. It's a sociological issue in terms
Yeah.
of the way that people respond to it, but it's also a business issue in terms of when will Tesla say, again, they won't even have to say it. They'll just say, well, the car is now $120,000. And sure, you can buy it if you want, and you can just use it to drive your kids around town. But you might be better off to buy a $60,000 General Motors ICE car for the next few years because it makes no sense to spend that extra money.
Yeah. And we'll touch on that again coming up on another slide, and we'll have a visual for that. So maybe we'll
Okay.
discuss it further there.
Okay.
So, speaking of cars and speaking of China, we get an update every week on sales in China. And things have actually been pretty solid here for the last 5, 6 weeks.
Right.
We're now at about 343,000 vehicles sold in China year to date. That's compared to 363 this time last year, so about 20,000 less, and 368 the prior year, and 3 years ago it was 224. So we're well above that.
Mhm.
So we're trailing slightly. Here's the visual. The yellow line here is 2025 year to date. We're
Right.
trailing slightly the trend from 2023 and 2024. But that's a gap that could easily be made up
Sure, sure.
now and the end of the year. Particularly, you can see that the 2023 line had a little bit of a dip.
Hmm.
So that would be an opportunity for that yellow line to continue to power through there and maybe even catch up to the blue line, which also had a little dip here.
Right.
So we'll see how this transpires, but things are actually looking pretty good in China.
Well, and with the new Model Y variant, the long, that could be the thing that puts them over the top.
Yeah. And then so goes Norway, goes the rest of the world. Norway here, year to date, the green circle is hard to see, but we're at the highest that we've ever had for sales in Norway at this point in the year.
Huh.
Now, you can see there's some bumpiness and lumpiness in here in
Right,
terms of
right.
Norway receives vehicles, but um, and in a given quarter they might take 9,000, almost 10,000 vehicles a quarter.
Yeah,
So it's not a huge, huge market, but Norway certainly is the leading adopter of EVs in the world.
sure, sure. Well,
Things
maybe
are
not.
looking strong.
Maybe not. It might now be Nepal,
Could be. Is
according to Brian White,
that right?
who's in Nepal right now, because apparently they have the highest percentage of new cars, at least,
Yeah.
that are EVs, not Teslas necessarily.
Well, Nepal would benefit from less pollution. It's a horribly polluted place in Kathmandu.
Yeah,
The roads are terrible. So any improvement there would be welcomed by the people of Nepal. Yeah. All right. And then here's cumulative Tesla sales from some European countries over the year. The some European countries are the ones that report, I think, daily numbers.
okay.
So UK, Norway, Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, Italy, Spain, Switzerland, and Czech.
Okay.
And so 2025, you can see is trailing slightly, again, kind of similar to the China numbers versus the last couple of years,
Hmm. Hmm.
but not falling off a cliff like the media would have you believe.
Right.
It's just been a little bit weaker so far this year.
Yeah, and people also blame it all on Elon's politics, and I am perfectly willing to agree that his politics are impacting sales in Europe. But the other thing is that a lot of the incentives, a lot of the what do you want to call it, government subsidies, in particular, the business subsidies have gone away,
Yeah,
and that's got to be impacting Tesla there.
it does not help for sure. And then here in the US, the Tony C, the accountant, sort of made the observation that in the first two quarters, Tesla has produced about 45,000 more vehicles than they delivered. So that could be, again, sort of a tailwind for Q3.
Oh yeah,
So this could be shaping up to be a pretty nice quarter.
that could definitely help.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. So things looking good, in China, Europe, and also the US. And then we also now have Chase Bank pushing Tesla.
Huh,
So this is somebody, I guess, received this email
huh.
from Chase, Tesla financing with Chase Auto, and talking about the $7,500 off a Model 3 or Model Y. And here's the second page, and they're talking about FSD.
Wow.
So someone's listening to us, Randy, about the idea of pushing FSD.
Yes, exactly. Jeez.
So I don't know if this is some kind of marketing deal between Chase and Tesla.
Well, I send them my $910 every month for my Tesla. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the JP Morgan analyst has also been sort of talking favorable things about Tesla as well. So it seems to be a concerted effort on the company.
Well, here's the weird part. And the mainstream media press is doing positive articles. Forbes did a very positive article this morning. I forget several of the others, Fortune. I mean, I haven't seen hardly any negative articles and very positive articles from these companies that are very mainstream. I'm just wondering if they think that maybe Tesla is going to start advertising. Maybe they've heard some hints that the advertising's about to start.
They've been watching our videos and
That's
our
right.
suggestions,
That's right.
etc. Yeah. Here, the Tesla account's pointing out that the average price of a cup of coffee in the US is 350, but FSD supervised per day is 333 a day.
Right.
One of the, Phil Bissell here says, and now you can safely drink your coffee while you drive, in quotes.
Right.
Um, Another comment further down says, well, we don't have to supervise the barista.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Anyway, yeah, not a perfect.
You're
Um,
not going to recommend that particular joke to your wife necessarily.
right. Yeah, I'm trying out the jokes here first, Randy, to see if they land. Yeah. Brian, our friend Brian, big news if you're an investor or a person who moves around or a person, really, any person. Tesla's continuing to add its list to its list of cities where they're hiring robotaxi vehicle operators. Chicago is on the list.
That toddle in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the list is growing.
Yes.
And I'm pleased to see that there are three cities in Florida on the list: Tampa, Claremont, Orlando area, and Miami.
So this is another confidence builder to me. In fact, I'm surprised this isn't starting to impact the stock price a little bit because you would not necessarily, I don't think, go out and start hiring people in these cities to do these safety, the preps, if you didn't think you were going to be going there soon.
Right. Yeah, it would seem pointless, wouldn't it, if you
Yeah,
didn't think you could offer the service and eventually take these people out of the cars.
right, right.
Obviously, you want to do this in a careful, measured, responsible way, and they're doing that.
Hmm.
At the same time, you don't want to do it any earlier than you feel is appropriate.
Right,
So it is a good sign. Yeah. And Elon's certainly talking about FSD version 14.
right.
and the 10x parameters and everything. And so how much of a step change that might be.
Sentient, he said.
Yeah,
Feels sentient. Yeah. So he's
right.
got xAI and Tesla with sentient capabilities.
That's right. Yeah. And so again, back to our earlier discussion in terms of what this means, right? So we've got at the top of this page, and we've talked about this before. I've revised a few of the numbers in here. But Tesla sells a car, and they might sell it for $40,000, and they might make about $4,000 in profit.
Right.
And let's say you buy a car once every 5 years, so they make $4,000 from a customer every 5 years.
Hmm.
Okay. If they sell a semi truck at 300,000, they might make 41,000. So if you adjust for the fact that the battery pack of a semi is 10 times the battery pack of a Model Y,
Hmm.
then on a vehicle equivalent basis, it's the same profit. And then if you add supervised FSD, you can now double the amount of profit you get.
Right.
So that's a plus. That's a huge plus, right? The
Right.
double the profit without having to produce another vehicle is huge.
Hmm.
That's great. You should try to do that all day long.
Right.
The energy business, not as profitable, but critically important. Now, this does not include AutoBidder and the AI-powered part of the energy business. So this number over here that's zero point 0.6 uh, in terms of selling a megapack adjusted for vehicle size is essentially 52 Model Ys in a megapack.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if we divide the numbers by 52, we get to it's really only zero point 0.6 of the profit, or 60% of the profit of selling a car.
Right. Right.
Again, it's a very important business. If you factor in auto bidder, you might actually get that to something that's equivalent,
Right.
maybe even higher, who knows. But now here's where it gets really interesting. Brian Wang did a post earlier this week in a video, and he and I did one as well
Hmm.
the following day, where
Hmm.
we talked about robo trucking. And the numbers that he ran, and I ran some numbers. I put it through my Robotaxi model. I adjusted it, turned it into a robo trucking model. I'm seeing potential here for a 5-year profit from a robo truck of 1.7 million
Now that would be a truck you sell or a truck in your own fleet.
in your own fleet. This is Tesla operated robo truck.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if you adjust that again for the fact that a truck is equivalent to 10 Model Ys,
Hmm.
it's $175,000 a year in profit, which is 43x
Right.
profit of selling a car,
Right.
right? So once autonomy is available in a truck, again, they should stop selling them,
Selling. Mhm.
right? Sorry, it's not 43x selling a car, it's also 43x selling a truck.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
We showed up here um, on a vehicle equivalent basis. Um, so that's interesting. And then, of course, Robotaxi, using Cybercab as the example here, is about 100 times the profitability of selling a car,
Right. In the
which is
fleet.
pretty,
So roughly you're at 40,000, which might be a little low for the fleet, but it a little high for the Airbnb version.
yeah. And I'm using here a
Fleet.
dollar base fare and a dollar per mile fare for this
Okay.
calculation.
Got it.
So yeah, and of course, depending on the structure of it, there'll be some variability around that. But whether this is 100 or 50, who cares,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's very clear from a business model perspective that you should make as many as you can and keep them in your fleet,
Right.
or share the wealth and have other people buy them, and you get some recurring revenue. And again, it might not be 100 in that case, it might be 50 times. Fine,
Mhm. Right.
great business. And then, of course, Optimus is the insane one because one Optimus is the equivalent of zero point zero 0.03 of a car, right? So if an Optimus makes $175,000 over a 5-year period, in vehicle equivalents, that's like 5.7 million,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, 1,000x.
Yeah. And that raises a really interesting question that I just keep batting around and talking about on the show, which is what the eventual price rental or sale will be for these Optimi. Now you have a bunch of different companies, including 1X and others who are talking about $30,000 robots that seem like they're going to be pretty good. But if we think, and I think for sure, I believe it, that this TAM, especially the industrial TAM, is going to be unlimited for 5, 6, 7 years. You just won't be. There's no way that everybody together, all 100 companies together, will be able to make enough of these to meet the demand. Then Tesla could still probably, if they have the top of the line, sell it for a lot more just because there's nothing available. And then the question becomes, will they care about positioning themselves as being 10 times more expensive than somebody else? I mean, so those are some weird pricing issues that most companies never face.
To me, there are four phases of this. The first phase is you can sell it for a very high price, even though the bot isn't highly capable because it's replacing a human and the
Mhm.
cost savings just makes sense.
Mhm.
And then the second phase gets more interesting because as the bot's capability grows, it's not just moving packages around anymore, it's actually doing stuff that has higher value.
Mhm.
You can actually command a higher price for that bot. You could actually see an acceleration in the not only in the number of bots being produced, but also in the recurring revenue.
Right.
Then you get to a point where there's enough bots in the world that starts the competitive forces kick in. And I don't know what that number is, Randy. It might be 100 million, it might be half a billion. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be some massive number. At that point, then you start to get the price declines because you're now competing.
Right.
You have to reduce the cost of the bot in order to be competitive. Okay, and this is again a strength for Tesla because of their manufacturing prowess and their ability to produce things at low cost. That's where they're really going to shine in that environment. And then you get to the point where we're talking about billions of bots, and the revenue, the recurring revenue, is going to be very, very low.
So,
But
but
very,
that,
very low times billions is still a massive number.
right. And I could agree with every single thing you're saying there, but it doesn't cover that issue, that weird issue where the Chinese makers are already at 16 grand for a bot that can do some real work.
Those bots aren't very capable. There's a reason it's 16 grand, is because the bot is not going to last. It's going to fall apart. It really
Oh,
can't do
okay. So
much.
you're saying
A glorified toy.
so it'll be an issue of the how long it'll hold up as even more than its what it can do.
Yeah, and those are not autonomous bots. You control them through a joystick. It's a big toy basically at this point.
Okay. So
Now, we shouldn't underestimate though the
yeah,
willingness of the Chinese to undercut.
yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see the policy decisions that we make about whether or not we want autonomous Chinese robots wandering around the United States.
Yeah, so okay, then let's just bring it back to the United States. You got 1X and Figure as really serious players. Now,
Apptronic, I think, would be up there.
Electronic, and none of them are planning to make 100,000 in the next couple of years, but they're all planning to make tens or fifties,
Yep.
which again won't be nearly enough to fill the demand.
Right.
But unless everybody's on the same page about charging 100,000 a year for rent, um, do you want to be in a position where 1X is charging 30,000 a year for rent and you're charging 100,000 a year for rent?
Well, again, it's going to come down to capability. So 1X is, as I understand it, is focused more on the home market.
Right.
So that right there limits them because a home buyer is not going to have the same willingness to
Yeah.
pay
Mhm.
for the bot that a company running three shifts would.
Right.
Right? The value is very clear for a manufacturing firm. You can show them very clearly,
Right.
even if they pay 200,000 a year, how
I
much
know.
money they're going to save.
Yeah.
But how many individual homeowners are going to pay $200,000 a year for a bot? Not many.
Yeah.
Right? There's some wealthy people where they'd pay a million and don't
Right.
care because it's
Right.
just cool. But so 1X is pursuing a strategy where they're saying, well, we're going to go after this market and they're going to have to price lower.
Uh-huh.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, a little bit longer term, it's going to come down to capability.
Right.
Is the 1X bot as capable as Optimus, as capable as Figure? And then the price will be in relation to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Very interesting thing to
Yeah.
watch. Yeah.
All right. Let's flip back to Robotaxi for a minute. This was an article that ARK Invest published this week.
Hmm.
And you may have even discussed this, Randy, or you've probably seen this.
Barely, just a little tiny bit.
Okay. So I thought we'd just maybe take a few minutes and just go through some of this.
Sure.
And they're talking about how they feel that in order to meet the urban Austin vehicle miles traveled, right? The
Right.
miles that are traveled in Austin, this is urban Austin,
Right.
um, they would need about 200,000 vehicles, right? This is for all vehicles
Yeah.
miles in Austin, replacing every single vehicle with Robotaxi. That
Right.
would be the upper amount,
Yep.
right? Which of course far exceeds today's ride-hail market.
Sure. Sure.
Um, and again, this is a really nice chart that ARK Invest had put together some years ago. It sort of showed how the market expands as you reduce the price per mile,
Hmm.
right? So if you are at 350 to $4 a mile, you're looking at a $4 billion addressable market. You drop down to under three, you're suddenly at 30 billion, so 10x just by reducing the price by about a dollar.
Hmm.
Okay, and you drop down to $2, now you go from 30 billion to 100 billion. And then you drop down to a dollar, from $2 to $1, it goes from 100 billion to a trillion, so a 10x. So the
Hmm.
market expands quite massively as you reduce that cost per mile.
Sure.
And then further from that, if you get down to 60 cents a mile, you're now at 2.4 trillion in market opportunity. And then they're showing here, I guess, this isn't cumulative, I guess it's another 2 trillion or so if you get down to 35 cents,
Hmm.
and then maybe another 5 trillion if you get down to 25 cents,
Yeah.
right? And so this is why Waymo long term will really struggle because the cost is going to matter.
Right.
Initially, we can play up here and we can outcompete Uber no problem. But if you really want to get into the big opportunity, you have to be able to offer a service that's competitive with all the other alternatives that's out there.
Hmm.
Okay. And we're not there yet, but that's what's coming, and that's where the cybercab will greatly help us.
And I did talk a little bit about this morning about some kickback from folks that are saying it'll never get under 20 cents a mile at cost of goods, which Elon Musk has repeatedly said it could be under 20 cents a mile. I've done the math. I'm pretty sure you've done the math. I can get it down to 25 cents really easily.
Yes.
Getting down under 25 cents gets a little harder, but when you get all the verticality, including insurance, including repairs, everything's vertical, everything's owned by Tesla.
Yeah.
Then you start going, well, yeah, maybe in volume you could get down to 20 or even under 20. So Elon says that at 20 cents a mile, it would probably retail at 30, but then I think that leaves out the Airbnb folks, because if Tesla's out there offering it at 30 cents a mile, I don't see how the Airbnb folks can do it for less than 50 and be profitable. And so I've seen this in business before where you've got a three-tier market. You've got a wholesaler and a retailer. And all of a sudden the retailer can buy it for some price, and then the wholesaler's out of business. They can no longer
Yeah.
compete in that market. So I don't see, I'm having a hard time, at least on the Tesla side, seeing it getting under 50 cents a mile to the consumer.
Yeah, I think, I mean, what will happen over time? I think in the early days, we're playing here and there's plenty of opportunity
Right,
here
right, for everybody.
for everybody. But at scale, that goes away. And then you're playing out here. And at that point, costs matter, scale, manufacturing prowess matters, all that matters big time out here. And the market changes dramatically.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, this was interesting. They talk about Waymo, and Waymo is doing, 250,000 fully autonomous paid rides per week. Our research suggests Waymo's safety has improved by 3x since mid-2024, so a year ago,
Hmm.
and is approaching the US human accident rate,
Hmm.
one accident every 700,000 miles. So
Hmm.
here's the human accident rate here, and Waymo is approaching that line. So a nice improvement,
Yep.
but it's kind of puzzling because Tesla's FSD is 10x safer than that.
Right,
Now, to be sure, to be clear here, this is a human with FSD. This is
right.
supervised FSD.
Combined. Yes, yes.
So this is unsupervised Waymos against humans, and this is supervised FSD against humans.
But some people have made the argument that the supervised FSD is less safe than if it didn't have a human.
It could be. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, we tend to misjudge things,
Yes,
and I've experienced that personally, where I've intervened and realized later that that was a mistake.
right, right,
Now, it wasn't costly; I didn't have an accident or anything,
right.
but it's like, oh, the car was doing just fine without me doing
Yes,
something stupid.
yes.
Yeah. Um, so this is showing here that ride hail in Austin accounts for about 3% of the vehicle miles traveled.
Hmm.
And so, ride hail is an important market to gobble up, but that's not the opportunity. The opportunity is all this over time.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where ARK Invest is getting to their couple 100,000 vehicles. And here's a chart that kind of shows Austin demand by time of day. You've got the morning rush and then kind of building in the afternoon, the evening rush, and then
Hmm.
going back down. And they're suggesting that Tesla could have a fleet, let's say, of a couple 100,000 robotaxis, supplemented by privately owned vehicles.
Hmm.
And during these times, perhaps pricing is higher.
Hmm.
Therefore, it makes sense for those Airbnb owners to offer their vehicles into the fleet because
Right.
the pricing would warrant that. Um, so that's kind of interesting. But I think your point is over time, this line continues to rise. It would make sense for Tesla to have more and more in their fleet.
Yes, I think so. And the other thing that makes sense, one of the things again talked about this morning is people say, "Well, I never give up my car." People that have two cars now or three cars now are probably the most likely to give up one car.
Yeah.
Then you also have categories. So I know people that hate to drive. I know people who will not drive on freeways, and these are middle-aged adults. These are not, old people like me. You do have old people that don't like to drive at night anymore.
Hmm.
You have old people that are starting to feel a little jittery. They don't want to tell their kids because the kids will take away the keys, but they're feeling a little unstable in their driving. You have people that have eyesight concerns. I mean, and then you get into people that are actually disabled. So there's a whole kind of group of people that are probably going to be very willing, even at a buck 50 a mile, to get out of the car ownership business.
Oh, I think so. And there's a lot of people whose vehicles just sit there doing nothing
Right,
90% of the time.
right,
It does not make any economic sense for
right.
them to pay for an expensive vehicle and just let it rot. Yeah. Now, ARC also ran some sensitivity on this for average speeds and the deadhead
Mm,
miles as a percent of total.
right.
So, what percent of the miles driven are there's no passenger? And of course, so for example, here, if you look at if the deadhead miles of zero and you're going 14 miles an hour, you need 155,000 vehicles. And if you basically double the speed, you need half as many vehicles. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then from a deadhead perspective, if you go from 0% up to 50, you need from 155 up to about 305. So doubling there.
Mm,
Right. So what's interesting about this is this just considers robotaxis as passenger faring machines.
right,
But what they really are atom moving machines,
right.
human atoms, but also they could be packages and delivery and food, right? And so deadhead miles may be a lot less over time as they layer on additional services like food delivery and package delivery,
Hmm.
right? Speeds should actually increase over time as we get humans off the roads,
Right.
right? Because it's the humans that are slowing things up. So that's a longer term opportunity for the whole fleet, for the whole network over time is to, enjoy that improved speed.
Oh, I would also think that AI is going to make a huge difference on this because the dispatch is one of the hardest parts. So
Yeah.
as AI figures out where to position cars and how many they need per day or at any given time, that's going to be a big deal. And to your point, I yesterday So as I think you know, most people in my audience know, I have a very small Amazon business, and some of that is export, and so DHL has to come here from time to time. I put out a DHL package yesterday, and the DHL truck was here in 5 minutes.
Wow.
Okay, that means that DHL truck was sitting around. It wasn't doing anything. It was nearby. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm nearby. So I can imagine a situation where DHL would say, we don't need our trucks at all anymore.
Hmm.
We will allow Tesla or whoever to, as they can, as they're deadheading, as they have a vehicle available, pick up the product,
Yep.
bring it over. It's done. Move on from there.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So there's that. And then we've got, so they talk about, Austin is a fraction of the addressable miles in the US, right? And
Right?
Tesla's well positioned to scale and capture that opportunity while Waymo relies on partners like Uber, Jaguar, Zeekr, Hyundai. And they say, according to our research, the current annual global production of Models 3 and Y could support the total vehicle miles of any top 10 US urban market. So here they're showing, for example, New York in green, and the global production capacity of Tesla would satisfy the needs of that market, whereas Waymo is down here,
Right.
right? They're severely constrained. Um, so anyway, and then Cybercab's way up here. So this is showing Tesla's ability to scale here.
Sure, sure.
Kind of an interesting chart to show that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Also, from a daily miles traveled perspective, we've got Waymo here and Tesla FSD, Tesla US fleet, and Tesla global fleet. 200 million miles a day
Right.
in Tesla's global fleet.
Yeah,
So if data matters, then Tesla is winning that race,
yeah, yeah.
right? So while Waymo may have 250,000 paid rides a week, fine, that's awesome. But ultimately, to build a car that can drive itself under all scenarios, you need massive quantity of data. They don't have that.
Right.
And then from a cost perspective, cost per mile, um, they're showing here that Waymo's fifth generation early launch versus Model 3. To me, this probably should be Model Y. I'm not sure if that's a typo, but anyway, they're showing that Tesla has a 30% cost advantage.
Mm,
And
mhm.
then interestingly, as we get to Waymo's sixth generation at scale, that the Cybercab at scale will have a 50% cost advantage. So, kudos to Waymo for reducing their costs.
Yeah,
But Tesla's moving away from them faster than they can catch up.
right, right. Yeah, in fact, I'm not going to argue with ARK's numbers here. I don't think I was able to get down to 40 on Waymo either, but I wasn't that far off. I think I was around 45.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're showing, I guess, Cybercab at scale is 20 or less
Right.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then this is a showing that,
By the way, I've been in, 45 or whatever different businesses and done consulting for another 400 businesses. If anybody ever came to me with a business plan and said, my competitor is double my price and they can't get their cost down, I would I would tell them that was a very good business to get into.
right. Yeah, something's wrong there.
Something's wrong there.
This chart is showing how Waymo very quickly surpassed Lyft in San Francisco.
Okay, yep, yep.
So the people, appreciate the fact that there's no human driver in the car, that they feel safer, etc.
Uh-huh.
So we know about that. All right, shifting gears completely. And this is the last couple of slides of the show. This is a chart that shows the S&P 500 PE ratios, and it's showing according to this chart, the three most expensive stocks in the S&P 500. Palantir in
Hmm.
green here at 242,
Hmm.
Boeing at 235,
Mm.
and Tesla at 161. Now, you and I have talked about PE ratios enough. I think you probably know what I think of PE
Right,
ratios.
right, right.
But just to drive this point home further, this is kind of interesting. This is looking at the Mag 7 stocks, their weight in the index versus their share of the S&P 500 net income. So the Mag 7 combined account for 34% of the index, but only 26, 27% of its earnings.
Hmm.
Okay. And you would look at that and say, well, that seems weird. Like, why are they valued so highly when they're only accounting for 27% of the earnings? The reason is growth,
Future earnings. Yeah.
future. And that's where we get into the issue here, the PE ratios. If you're just looking at PE, this tells you nothing about future expectations for growth,
Right.
other than the PE ratio is high, right? But it tells you nothing about whether or not these stocks actually are fundamentally cheap.
Right.
So the person that created this chart was probably trying to make the point of saying stay away from these three stocks; they're overvalued. But again, the PE ratio doesn't factor in future growth.
Right.
Okay. Um, and then lastly, this was kind of interesting. Do you notice anything peculiar about this table right here?
This is the top 25, huh? That's, yeah, just amazing.
Right? What an exceptional
Yeah.
economic system the United States has. We're doing something right for all our problems,
Yeah. It's just
right?
absolutely just you know, it brings you back to the fact that Trump knew he knew that he could have his way with these other countries. You're sitting here with 22 of the top 25 companies located in the United States. You have an advantage, a massive advantage. You talk about the population of the United States having the consumers, having a lot of buying power, but these companies have a lot of buying power. These companies are placing massive purchase orders in China and massive purchase orders in Vietnam, et cetera. And so you have just such a huge lever in the hands of the negotiating team in this tariff situation.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? When you look at this list, obviously at the top is, the AI powered companies,
Right, right.
right? And then companies that support them, whether it's TSMC, Broadcom,
Yeah,
you know, on down the list. And then, of course, some very successful old world companies. The fact that Berkshire Hathaway, for example, is a $1 trillion enterprise is very impressive.
yeah, yeah.
Um, JP Morgan Chase, 800 billion, Walmart, 800 billion. Um, Pretty phenomenal.
Hmm.
So anyway, I thought that was just a good reminder of how exceptional the United States is for all of our problems.
Yeah, 100%. Well, okay. So that was part one, because there will be, for those of you who love, well, I don't know, CERN, do you think they show up for your charts or for you?
I think they show up for you,
The shirts.
the shirts. I think it's the combination, Randy, of the charts and you.
Oh, it's not nothing, but you have the robot.
I do.
I can't see him.
No, actually, he's not there.
Oh, he's not there. Oh, so then that would be one less reason to show up. I'm sorry.
He's been relieved of his duties. He wasn't pulling his weight.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
You want the real thing, huh?
I would like an Optimus or Figure or one of each.
Well, Peter Diamandis is apparently going to get his own 1X before the end of the year.
Nice.
I thought that was pretty interesting to see.
Yeah.
He had the owner, the founder on the other day on his show, and apparently they've made a deal that he'll get to test one in home use before the end of the year. So now, I mean, Peter lives over in Santa Monica. I really, really, really need to find a way to get him on my show.
Yeah, I need a robot in my house for one simple reason.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's somebody in my family, and I haven't figured out who it is yet, that when they flush the toilet, the flusher mechanism is left in a certain way so the toilet just keeps running. The water just keeps running,
Oh.
right? And for some reason, that bothers me more than it should. But I would pay a lot of money for a robot just to walk around the house on a regular basis and fix that because I can't seem to affect any change in my family.
I see.
I failed in that regard.
Have you gone in the tank and see if you could fix anything in the tank?
The problem is not with the toilet. The problem is with
Okay.
the user.
It really is. Okay.
Yeah. Because I can fix it within, half a second, just touching the lever and everything's good. Um, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, but there's lots of
Yeah.
uses like that, I think, for a robot. It could be very valuable in my household to reduce the water consumption.
And the tension.
Yeah.
And the tension. Yeah.
Attention.
Yeah. In my house, it was something about closing doors and turning off lights. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody cares about those two things anymore, but back
Now,
back in the day, those
these
were
days with the LED lights, it's probably cheaper to leave them on than it is to be turning them on and off.
Yeah. All right, sir. Well, thank you very much for showing up as usual. We will do part two, and that will be on probably on Friday night or Saturday. We'll see how that works out. And then also probably, almost certainly, Nicholas Gibbs was on just a little while ago. So I'll put the card right here for you guys to go back and check out what Nick had to say, because that's always, well, almost always really good.
He's always worth a listen.
All right. Thank you, sir. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.
Thanks, Randy.